Harun Mwenda, a respected programmer in Kenya, has a rich professional history including roles in notable companies and his current venture, Geni Labs, a Web3 startup.
My first interaction with coding was in my second year in campus. So in campus, I was doing mathematics. I was enrolled to do mathematics and computer science, which I did. The first year, I wasn't sure what I would become. Most of the time, I confused the course that I was doing with bachelor's of education in computer studies and mathematics. So it was a bit confusing for me. In the second year, we were introduced to web development. I was in a bad state back then. I needed somewhere to channel my pain. So when we were introduced into web development, it was the basic one, Ilya campus, CSS and JavaScript and HTML. So I tried to major on it, majorly, and focus too much into it. I started developing toy project. I remember the first web application that I developed was for a school, which I grew to a community that I built later on in my career. So basically, I could say 2018, and decided to concentrate and channel my pain into writing code because it was something that was exciting me.
While many aspiring programmers consider schools like Moringa or GACHOKI, Harun believes that determination outweighs the importance of specific educational institutions.
The effort that you put, the efforts that you put in yourself is what matters. The campus that you are in here, you'll be taught. There are amazing lecturers there, but they won't tell you this is what you should focus on majorly, or this is what is coming. Sometimes you are reading to pass the units, but other times if you focus really, despite the university that you are or in college that you are, then you can grow your career. Because if I would mention this, I've seen people who have not stepped in campus, not even college, after Form 4, they decided to focus on coding or concentrating coding. Up to now, I can say they have a successful career. So it doesn't matter the background. What matters is the effort that you put in yourself and the consistency in it. If you do, I would say I have seen people doing different things in short terms. It won't help. If you're able to focus for a long time, then that's what brings result and success.
After years of study, Harun successfully secured his first job in the tech industry.
I started by freelancing. I was building a front-end application for a company, Israel-based company, which is also in West Africa. I want to mention because it was a very short-term contract. I was the only front-end engineer who joined them from Kenya. And then later, we were supposed to go for the 3.2 in-campus industry attachment. So I was absorbed by a company that is in Eastern Province, around Chuka. It is more about tech and money lending. So it's a small fintech in a local region, or in a local area. So I started there as a software engineer. I was given a chance to also grow as a data scientist. After a short time, I left to come and teach at Ubunifu College, which is based around Ngara. So I was I was a machine learning instructor there for a while. So that was my first tool, which I consider as my first job.
His subsequent job represented a significant milestone, considering the substantial financial aspect involved.
Back while I was a machine learning engineer, I was doing more meetups at Ubunifu College. Then my community work grew to whatever else I was doing apart. I was growing a community called Lux Academy Data Science East Africa, which are currently led by DC. She is the person who is leading the community right now. But now my community work and whatever I was doing at Ubunifu led to an opportunity that I got with MPESA Africa. It's a fintech company that focuses on different, especially cross-border transactions. applications. So I got there as a developer relation engineer. I was still in campus. It was my first, I could consider it my big check, and I was happy to join there. So being a developer relation engineer at MFS Africa, I can consider it as my first big job.
Web3 emphasizes communities, and foreign companies actively seek community leaders for product promotion.
I wouldn't want to talk about Web3, I'll talk about general tech. So if I talk about communities, how they come handy. Okay, this is the first thing. It is the easiest way to grow and learn very fast. Why? Because if you are seated here, we are learning, both of us, then it will be very simple for me to explain to you a concept. And if I explain for you to you a concept, it will be very easy for me also to absorb that concept deeper. So I find it as a helpful side or way of learning and also helping yourself. So you're teaching someone, they are learning, and then me myself who is teaching you is understanding the concept that I'm helping you understand better. The other thing is growing and networking. So on networking, you have the chance to interact with people. Now, I don't know, today I might have an open opportunity in my organization. When you're interacting, you tell me, by the way, I'm a data scientist and I was logged out or I was fired or something else. I don't have a job, I'm looking for a job. I tell you there is a data science position open in my organization. So being in tech community, like, it gives you that chance to like network with people. It doesn't have to be like instant growth or instant opportunity. Also, after 2 years, I might remember there was someone who was looking for a job. By now, I think if they are still in data science, I can still offer them the opportunity because you understand and see what that person is doing. The other part is exposure. So it helps you to see, or it helps you to understand what others are doing, and it comes very handy. And again, the other side of exposure is if you're the person leading community, you are given a platform to talk about what you do so much. So it opens for you opportunities that you wasn't even expecting. So I think community comes handy, especially if you're in tech, but not in tech. Also, like other professions, like if you can organize yourself, then I think it's our best way to like live with others.
Kenya boasts a high number of developers, and Harun provides insights into the experiences of being a developer in the country.
If you're focusing on a certain skill, it can take you a short or a long term, depending on how lucky you are. I have seen people who are growing within years, others growing within months. So it depends on the energy that you put and how lucky you are, I would say that. So getting entry-level jobs, especially if the internship and I wouldn't say underpaid, it becomes easier, especially if you're like speaking out there, you're trying to tell people what you built or what you're building and what you can do for them, then it exposes you. That is the first phase. There is another part of people who like being silent. Like when interacting with people, they are like silent. They don't want to show or say what they are doing. So it becomes like they do. Most of them, the silent ones, are very sharp heads. They can do amazing stuff, despite the fact that they can't talk about it. Not like they don't know stuff. They can do. So for those, also it becomes very easy, especially when they are doing interviews. But again, to get that interview now, it might be hard because most of the jobs are for referral. So I would encourage anyone who is doing right now to try and speak out there. If you're in a position to build in public, just do it. If you're not in a position to do, then it's okay for you. If it will work, just look for job opportunities, apply and share what you can do with them. It might open an opportunity for you. The other part that I can address on the same case is the community part. You ask about how is the tech community. So there are different organized tech communities. Like I would tell you, like if I'm in data, I will mainly use Scala, a programming language. I would use SQL, another programming language, and Python, another programming language, and other tools that comes with those languages. So these tools, when I'm using them, there are people who are in front end who will use JavaScript and TypeScript, and this becomes another team of people. Then there are people who are doing let's say, mobile application development. You meet them working mainly with Kotlin, you meet them working with Java, and you meet them working with Flutter. So these communities are organized in these languages, and there are different communities online. If you go and look at Python Kenya, if you go and look Angular Kenya or any other community, Flutter, Android, you'll just see those communities. So you can join them, you can interact with others there, and you can grow your career. And something else I can talk about is like, even on like Twitter, there are people sharing amazing content there on Twitter and LinkedIn. So just try not to run alone. I would say that. And again, it's the part of getting a job also. I think that another important thing we can address. I would say this, like there in tech you can work like in two ways, which applies in other organizations, in other fields. Sorry, let me stop saying this. I was talking about how you can work. So we have the part of someone can be a freelancer and try to do gigs, like I do for your website, I do for the other one our website, and then accumulate that money. So that's a way to start if you can't get a full-time job. But if you're able to get a full-time job, apply for them, and encourage applying also for like international organizations. There are startups in US that are looking for talent, UK looking for talent. So either way you go, make sure that you work hard, it will always pay. And talking about tech and other professions, I've seen other countries like especially the western side, they don't like hype tech the way we hype it here. So you get a job in Kenya, you're being paid in euros or dollars, you get so much money, and you're like, you think you study alone. There are countries that tech pays the same with doctors and accountants, so it is a quite thing. I think we over talk about it in Kenya, which is because of the money that is in tech. But again, I think there is ways we can do it better.
The question lingers. Are tech professionals, often referred to as tech bros, the highest paid in Kenya?
I don't want to get controversial about it. I will just mention I'm not a tech bro, but I'll talk about maybe other tech bros that I have heard of. So the pay that you get in tech depends with what you do, and the nature of the economy and who you're working for. You can't work for me, a community that I lead, and expect me to give you what someone in Safaricom would do. And sorry for using Safaricom, any other organization. So the organization that you're working for determines what you earn, especially if it's a startup. We can have a startup that is in Kenya that is underfunded, and we have another one in Silicon Valley that got you. So you can get as much as people get up to 1.8 million per month, and others can get as low as 50, 48. So it always depends with the years of experience, the company that you're working for, and how you push yourself. It is always open. Like in tech, if your organization allows you, you can have more than one job. So which is okay if they allow that. And if you combine two jobs and you really work very hard, then you get something very nice. I know guys who can make up to 1.4. I also know friends who can make as low as 48. And also I know people are getting started at 300, 400. So it is a range that can lie in between there. It's a good career, honestly, for someone with the interest and passion of it. Then it will pay you if you really work very hard.
Tech careers in Kenya come with unique challenges that professionals in the field encounter.
The other part is landing your first job. It becomes very hard for you to get your first job. But if you get it and deliver, then it will be very smooth for you. You might grade, others might wonder, like, how did this happen? How did you get this job? So if in a position and you have been able to get your first job, then that is a very great starting point, because it makes your life easier if you can deliver your first job. People can refer you, like people would like to retain you, things like that. Getting the first job is the hardest part that I have seen, especially for many people in tech.
Harun shares valuable advice for those aspiring to learn programming, emphasizing determination.
Anyone interested in starting, right? My first advice is anyone who is, let me give to anyone who is interested and haven't started already. So I would tell you, like, there is nothing like the right time for anything. Someone said it's an illusion, like talking about right time is an illusion. So what I would tell someone who is getting or interested in getting started, just start. And way I could like advise you to get started is look at a problem, try to solve that problem, and come up with the process of solving that problem and the languages and everything. You might look at a problem, like most of the services right now are online. You can get a lot of data online. You try to solve that problem. For example, I would give a very like business that a lot of people can talk about. Look at there are a lot of ladies that use what is it called, skincare and makeup and everything. Imagine all the skin conditions and they get, like, I don't know if you know the prices of the skincare stuff, but I've interacted with few users and they can get them at as much as 18K. I won't mention figures because I might be wrong, but what I know is they are quite expensive. So if you are able to build an application that, if it is using computer vision, it's a technology in deep learning that can identify images. So if you are able to train that software, when it takes the screenshot, it generates like the description of the condition that you might have in your skin and how you can cure it, the best makeup that can work for you depending on your complexion, like depending on what you're dressing down here, or the best makeups that you can use. That is a problem. Okay, you're trying to build a software that can help a lady take a selfie and get the descriptions there. For that, you can use generative AI. That is a deeper thing that one can go and look at. I just wanted to give the problem. Now you sit down and ask yourself, how can I build this platform? You know you have to build an app. To build an app, you have to come with a programming language. You take Flutter. Let's talk about that. Flutter is an hybrid. That is why I took the Kotlin and other. I took Flutter for that case. You build the app, you train your model with Python and integrate it in your app in such a way that it is able to give the description. You can integrate with generative AI, like we have Llama and we have OpenAI models. They have their APIs that you can integrate with your app to give you description according to the predictions that the model has made. So you sit down, you have a problem, you have what to solve. You ask yourself now, I talked about Flutter and that you go and learn that. I talked about Python for building my models and collecting my data. How you learn Python. So you are learning when you're trying to solve the problem. Like you learn and try to analyze image. You go and learn about image processing with Python. But already you have learned the basics. You go to the other part of building an API endpoint with Python. You go and learn a framework and integrate. So I find it as the best way to learn. So that is the advice for those who are getting started and how to learn. For those who are in tech, just keep exploring new stuff. And I know sometimes time might be tough, not always straight. So just don't give up, especially if you're starting and you haven't gotten your first job. Just don't give up. It pays after all. Just give your best that you can. Even if it doesn't pay, you say you tried. But I don't know anyone who have tried and it failed them. If you really put your energy and you're creative, then it becomes very easy for you. So just let's start with trying to get up. Just get started, then try to get a problem and try to solve it. And the last part is don't give up. It always pays at the end. And the last one is keep doing it, and don't get hesitated. The other one I could add as a bonus, don't be driven by people. I might be doing data engineering and telling people you can buy the best car, you can do from data engineering. But for you, what works for you is mobile application development. Yeah. So don't shift to what I'm doing because I'm hyping or talking about what I do. Everyone does that because they think their profession is the best. Maybe yours, building web application is what works for you. So just stick on what you're doing and be consistent about it. It pays after a good time or at the end.